So people, hello. I can't wait anymore to talk about this. So I will be just straight to the point. I also, if I begin to write, I think it will take me more time than this. The point is, there is a reason for we call a musical event, sometimes a musical piece, you call that's a piece of music, and I composed a piece for orchestra, for example. And in other hand, there is also a reason for we say that's a song. The reason is that if you say that you composed a song, you are you have the assumption that the song is to be sung, and if you say this in a context of songwriting, for example, in popular music, you mean that the song that you compose needs to be shared, actively shared, that people participate in what you do. And if you call something a musical piece, the assumption behind this is that the musical piece is something distant. And because it is distant, you can contemplate it. Okay? So you have, in one hand, the musical piece, here in this example, and other hand, a song that a songwriter wrote. And why is this important? Because this example shows something very important about my view on musical understanding and musical appreciation. And I think it is important because many problems of musical composition and also musical understanding by audio lovers or audiophiles, people who hear music, many problems they have in misconceptions they happen because of this lack of understanding of the basic musical functions. And I have many thoughts about that, so I can elaborate this in many ways, and there is also some interviews and some videos that on YouTube that I saw, or texts that I could criticize this and introduce my thought, but I don't have so much time for this now. The point is that if you consider this basic example that you call some musical event, sometimes you call it a song, and in other hand you have a musical event that you call a musical piece, there is a very important reason behind this, and that is the musical function, the musical context for what is this is written for. And the main distinction that you need to have is you have music that is to be contemplated, and it has to be a piece, for you have some distance in contemplation, and you have music that requires your participation, your active participation, that you sing with the music or that you dance with the music. I don't know if I told this in other video, but it will be like this now. I will fragment these ideas, and maybe someday I do a kind of documentary on this, because that's very important, and people don't talk about this. People talk about a distinction between popular music and classical music, but this distinction is sometimes useful, but most of the times it is very misleading, and even both conservatives and more revolutionaries or leftists, they use this distinction and they on my point of view, they cause many problems on also on the perception of musical value of different kinds of music. I think it's true that different kinds of music they have different musical and aesthetical value, but the way that that the discussion is normally set is very misleading. Okay, so you have, for example, I don't know if he is to blame, but Adorno is a very expressive example for this distinction between classical music and popular music and jazz music, the music of the music industry. Okay, and many people who want to do an objection against Adorno, they still so to say, they still give too importance for this opposition. They still are not able to distinguish this opposition between classical and popular, etc. Okay, and they focus too much on this also for in order to build a more conservative answer. Okay. That's a philosophical topic that you need to treat in a more quite careful with care in matter of concepts, and also you need to relate this to the history of the music. And I don't want to engage myself so much on details now, like on improvisation now, but there is a lot of things to eat. If you are from Brazil, I think our current famous philosopher, the Olavo de Carvalho, and some pupils or fans, so to say, of him, they engage in a similar problem because they don't recognize that this opposition is not a true important way of formulating this problem, and they begin to give also too much importance to the pop folk music, as it were. They basically here. Now I need to say the detail. They do a distinction between popular music in the sense of music industry and folk music in the sense of a not industrial music. But that's not the point of this video. But there is not such things like that, and these confusions, in my opinion, they happen because you don't have a clear idea of the musical function of some musical works, and that's the most important thing. As I said in my example, you have a piece, you have something that you contemplate from the distance, and that's why it's called a piece. Okay, maybe that's not the genealogical reason for this word in English, but in many you have in German or in Portuguese, we call this a piece. Maybe that's not the philological explanation, but there is a reason for we still call it a piece, because it's a piece of museum, for example. Yeah, you contemplate this on the distance, and you have, in other hand, a song or a dance or a musical event where it's supposed that you dance or you sing. So this is called a dance or a song, of course, and the main function of this is to invite you to participate in this musical event. Okay, so that's the main thing to learn and keep in this video. You have music that is for the contemplation in some distance, and you have music for participation. These are two elementary functions and ways of perceiving music. I don't get so deep in the argumentation of this, because that's also so to say my epistemology. It's a kind of law of less effort, that you can perceive, you can try to perceive by yourself if what I am talking is true. Okay, just try on this week to perceive the music between music that you contemplate from the distance and music where you are invited to participate with. Okay, that's not totally a new distinction, but I think that the way I focus on this and the way I use this to explain some problems, I think that's some, if not original, that's very important. Okay, and that's more important than the classical opposition between pop and classical, or between musical industry and avant-garde music, neue Musik, yeah, like John Cage, etc., or between industrial music and folk music, etc. These classifications, they don't imply aesthetical value. Do you understand? Let me still give some example. For example, but before I give the example, you need to perceive something. That here we are talking about music philosophy. So of course we are focused on some perceptions of what is concrete and real, and what is a fact. But in other hand, we are building concepts. Okay, and the concepts, they have this nature of being very radical and totalitarian. Okay, a concept is always something like totalitarian. The concept means that only the concept and only in this direction. Okay, so what I mean by participative function of the music, yeah, if this concept of participation, and what I mean by this concept of a contemplative function of music, it's now here intended to be as something really pure and opposite to each other. Okay, I conceive them as very different things, but of course, in reality, you see how music mix these functions. But what I believe, and I think I can show, is that there is a main musical. There is such thing as a musical as the essence of the participative music, and something like the essence of the contemplative music. They are like roots of our perception of music. Okay, music where you participate in the music and enjoy the music in an act like ritual or dance or singing, and music where you regard this from the distance. And of course they have some historical connection, and they have some genealogy and some relation as one is predecessor of the other, and things like this, and they have many complicated interactions after the development of the Baroque music, Renaissance music, etc. And it's complicated. But if you consider these two concepts are something different, the advantage is that you will perceive better the value of some music, because you understand what is the purpose of some kind of music. For example, to show that this opposition between classical and popular is not so relevant as for the musical understanding as this opposition that I am thinking about now. you can take, for example, a band like Yes, that is a progressive rock band. But I think I will give as a example Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is not my favorite band, but people understand better what is the point with Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd comes from this paradigm of participative music where you are invited to join, to dance and sing, like blues, rock and roll, etc. Okay, and what is the interesting point with Pink Floyd? They begin to acquire a character of contemplative music that is somehow you want to call this a piece. There is people who call the famous album, Another Break on the Wall, they call this opera. It's not an opera. I have a reason for this, but anyway, so they want to go in this direction, so that they begin to play on theater, for example. But the main source of the root of this music is a music where you participate and you are invited to sing and to dance, or even if you don't sing or you don't dance, you are somehow called in your body to participate. That's why it's still a very that's a music where the percussion, the drums is very important. Okay, and that resonates in your body. So I am here talking about that the conception of participation, okay, the concept in itself is very pure, but on the musical manifestation, you in some historical event or some composer that you know, the thing is not so pure. And why is this important? Because if you can recognize contemplative music with roots in a genre of participative music, like for example Pink Floyd, but the example that I really would like to give is from Yes. They have really interesting things to show this as an example. I think that's absolutely another level of quality. The Yes band. I will not so to say dislike the best moments of the Pink Floyd, but as band. I recognize more the value of Yes, and these guys show how in a paradigm of participative music, you can also have the experience of the contemplation. Okay, you have this mix, but is a mix where 70% of the focus is actually this aesthetical of a musical piece, something that is distant, okay, but and that's the interesting thing of the progressive rock, but that you still can join and participate as a sharing act in a concert. Okay, that's also another interesting thing to speak about. But here is the very the key element of this music, okay? and it's a contradiction in some sense to this root of participation. Okay, but you call this anyway. You call this industrial music. Okay, you call this music to be used, and that is the misleading classification that you call this music the folks music in the sense of something that is not to contemplate as a work of fine art, but something that is only for participation and only for some use, only for some utility. Do you understand? And people who are more philosophical, so to say, they will talk about this with some. If they are more leftist philosophers, they will talk about this utility of the music with more how it's called disdain and depreciation. And if they are more conservative, they will talk about this like that is a value, that the music has some utility. Okay, but the problem that they identify this opposition between utility and value, or the identification between utility and value. Yeah? For the more conservative philosophers, they identify utility with value. Okay, that's the same thing. You understand? In a basic level. And for the more leftist philosophers, and especially the more Marxist, the more to be more to be more correct here, the philosophers who have more sympathy with the Frankfurt school, they will identify value with musical with non-musical utility. That means that the music needs to be absolute music and in itself. Okay, then of course they like this. That's a more complicated idea, and it has many layers of interpretation, and also many layers they come in conflict with each other. But the point is that there is this misconception between utility and value. Sometimes is identification, the same thing, and sometimes they are different things. If you are on the perspective of leftism or more right-wing philosophy, yeah, they depend on which perspective you choose. But both they depend on a wrong formulation of the problem between classical music, or something like the ideal music, contemplative music, and the music of the music industry and popular music, like two words, okay, against each other. In my example of the Yes or the Pink Floyd, speaks against it, because it shows that there is a more important level of understanding there, that you have participative function and you have the contemplative function of music. And together with this example comes another one. For example, you have the Bach suites. Do you know this famous melody, the gay string aria of Bach? Okay, that is in context of a music that Bach wrote to be used. Do you understand? That's like a film composer today, or it's a music for some utility. And another example is this fireworks music of the Handel. Okay, they were musical works for some utility, and they are also dance. And the musical function here is to invite you for some participation, and to dance, to sing together. And if you don't dance and if you don't sing, the music touches your body in such a level that you resonate with the music in a participative way. But that is classical music in some other classification. Do you understand what I mean? And classical music is the contemplative music. That's a piece. Okay? In the sense of my reflection here, you should not call this a piece. It's a dance. Do you understand? Because it's not something to contemplate from a distance. You can do it. You can do it. But that's not the root and the essence of this musical event. If I go to the concert and I begin to hear a minuet or a baroque dance in the concert, I am inquiet with this. I may like it, and there is some exceptions, but if I recognize that this was participative music, I cannot be here sometimes with top musicians here in Salzburg. I cannot sit for 30 minutes to hear a music that it's supposed to be heard like you are walking or you are drinking. Okay? But as I said, there is more complicated layers on these concepts, because also you cannot say that you cannot contemplate something that was intended to be as an invitation to participation. Do you understand? You cannot you cannot say that is absolutely wrong to contemplate something distant as a piece, you understand, of museum, something that was originally meant to be an invitation to participation, to sing, to dance, or to share some corporeal stimulus, so to say, with the music. As I say, that's a complicated topic, and I can't wait to. I developed these ideas in kind of some aphorisms and some observations. I have my thoughts and my notes on this, but I don't have like a extended text about this yet, and I really don't have time to write this and do something like a video, like a documentary, you understand, about this as it deserves, because I am doing other things. I am composing music and etc. But this subject is very important, and it deserves a good text or a documentary or some deep analysis for people who just hear music and just compose music. And it doesn't need to be some deep philosophical discussion inside the academy, because here there's a lot of discussion about these things. There's a lot of discussion, but the discussion is closed there in the bibliothèque, so to say, in the library. And what I want is that you understand that if you are someone who just hear music, or if you are someone that just compose music, that this is very important to think about, and on my opinion, that's very important to learn that these musical functions, they are more important than the so-called musical genres, and that these musical functions they can be parameters for the aesthetical judgment in music, and more than the genre in itself. Okay? So keep this in mind and leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Emanuel Magalhães Fróes. I think I will upload this at least on my Compositorium account on Instagram, at least. And if you want, if you want to show your musical composition, and if you want to have a discussion about this, book an online lesson with me. And first you write me a message, and then we see together how it works. Depending on the case, you don't have to pay the first lesson, okay? If you come like you need some advice, etc., then the first lesson or the first talk I just do because I like it. But then after this I can do like a plan and see how I can help you, and also I am sure that if you really want to learn music and to compose music, and you don't care about appearance, so to say, the best thing you can do is to learn by yourself, or to learn with me or some other composer that you know. And I mean, someone who learned many musical disciplines, and someone who met also composers and etc. And only in a very careful sense, and more only if you really analyze it, this issue, you can see if the university can be really good for you as a composer. Okay, I am not talking about teacher or music job or something like that. Only if you consider these questions with seriousness, then you can decide better if the music university can be good for you, because these questions, they are the important questions of musical composition today. Okay, if you want to do something relevant, it's something that has historical impact. I'm also not say that only if you have some reflections that's already enough. Maybe that's also my case. I don't know if I have historical impact with my music, but today, if you are composing, if you want to compose fine art music, something that you call a piece, or if you want to do music that really invite people for participation, for active participation, you need to have this reflection. And also, if you want to so to say, to touch the body of the people with your music, with your song or with your dance, in a very authentic and human way, not in a sense where there is some kind of lack of human dignity in your participative music, because that's what we have today. Okay, we have too much participative music that is unfortunately poor. That's also true. Not only contemplative music that is also poor. We have a huge amount of music that fails in its task of inviting you for a participation in some deep and fundamental and true human experience of its dignity. Okay. So thanks for watching, and keep this in mind, and I will do, I think, many other videos or texts on this, because it's still for me not so easy to organize these thoughts beyond these key elements that I write on my aphorisms or on my notes that you have on Instagram or on my website, and also many of them, they are not published, they are here just on my notebooks. That's the most important part and the most coherent part, but I cannot wait to develop this in some manner for you keep better in your memory the importance of this reflection. Okay, so ciao, and book an online lesson, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, thanks, ciao.